A 7-hour procedure to remove the tumor.
We also decided to do it awake, so that of the roughly 7-hour surgery, I was awake and talking to the doctors as they were conducting the surgery for about 3/4 of it.
The surgery was a big success. Doctors removed 90% of the tumor. Phil then had to go through 6 weeks of radiation and chemotherapy and then another 6 months of chemotherapy. The radiation and chemo killed the remaining 10% of the tumor. And Phil has never had another seizure. He gets an MRI every 6 months to make sure there is no new tumor growth.
You know, frankly, I'm probably healthier than I was before it all started.
So healthy, Phil plans to run the Thunder Road Marathon in Charlotte on December 11th this year, which will be the 5-year anniversary of his diagnosis. Phil says there are basically 2 approaches you can take when dealing with such a serious diagnosis, and for him, the choice was clear.
One is taking a really positive attitude and really believing that they're going to get through it. And I met some people who just really got depressed and really gave up. And you know, I think personally, I just wasn't going to take the give-up approach.
Phil says just believing and accepting that you can get through anything goes a long way.
I was convinced from the beginning that this was not the end, that I'm going to have tough times to get through, but ultimately, you know, I could persevere and there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Ultimately, you know, these are short-term setbacks. I got to take a long-term view and believing that the long term is going to be positive.
Phil's positive attitude and positive results are an inspiration to a lot of other people dealing with brain tumors.
What I found is that people, when they hear a positive story and when they're in the throes of the worst of it, hearing that there is actually, you know, hope for a positive outcome, I think is really important.
Phil also works closely with the Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas through fundraisers. He wants to help raise awareness about brain tumors and their prevalence, and try to help get more resources and efforts put toward finding effective treatments for brain tumors.
My hope is one day that we have a nationwide movement, something like breast cancer research, where that level of commitment and awareness and support can grow to where, you know, we're not struggling to find people who have good outcomes, that the survival rate is you know, it's a given.
In the meantime, Phil plans to keep that positive attitude, and he wants to spread that message to others.
As frightening as it is, that there is hope and that there can be a good outcome, and I'm living proof of that, and that a positive attitude and perseverance can get people through a lot.
What a wonderful attitude, Tanya, and inspiring story. And just remember, when you donate to the Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas, you're helping people like Phil.
Absolutely. And coming up here on Improving the Odds, criterium, excitement. Professional cyclist Mark Heckman explains the world of professional cycling and why criteriums are so exciting when we come back. Welcome back to this WBTV On Your Side special presentation, Improving the Odds. You know, as we've mentioned, one of the biggest fundraisers for the Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas is the Presbyterian Hospital Invitational Criterium.
We've covered it for years. It's a very exciting event as professional cyclists race right through these streets here in Center City with the fans cheering them on.
It is so much fun. It's under the lights. It is fast and furious. But if you're not a fan, you might just think it's a casual ride down the street.
We caught up with a professional cyclist from Winston-Salem who tells us that there is much more to a criterium.
The main technique we use is drafting, and so you can think of it similar to like NASCAR. It's like you don't want to really be in the front until the very last second, and so we kind of watch each other, and there's a lot of strategy involved as to where you are riding within the group of 150 people.
Meet professional cyclist Mark Heckman. Very successful cyclist Mark Heckman, that is. These are just some of the trophies and medals he's won. Heckman finished 6th at last year's Presbyterian Hospital Invitational Criterium in Charlotte. He finished 1st overall in the 2009 USA Criterium Series. Heckman has been racing since 6th grade, but here's something you may not expect. He's also an accomplished bassoonist. We'll get back to that later. Right now, back to cycling.
I came down when I was a child and watched a race something similar to Charlotte, and from when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and have thought it was the coolest thing ever, and have been hooked ever since.
We asked Heckman to explain what's so exciting about a criterium.
Well, it's kind of like the extreme sports version of bicycle racing. It's kind of shorter, it's faster, it's more dangerous, there's a lot more money on the line. It's an exciting atmosphere. It's kind of like a rock star version of bicycle racing, and so it's more Americanized. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's way exciting watching 150 guys cornering at 30 miles an hour together, and people are crashing all over the place, and they're sprinting every lap for money and all sorts of stuff.
The average speed during a race is about 30 miles per hour. Close to 40 for the final sprint.
Look at that sprint.
Heckman rides for Team Mountain Khakis, powered by Jittery Joe's. Being a professional cyclist means a lot of travel.
You can essentially think of it as in terms of being like a rock band on tour. We travel from race to race for the entire season, the entire time. Essentially spend the entire summer on the road, living out of a van, living in, sleeping on people's couches. It's kind of that lifestyle.
And a lot of training. About 25 to 30 hours per week of riding a bicycle.
The training, for some of us, it's the most fun. It's like we just get to go out and ride your bike all the time. And so that's kind of the perk of the job, is you're doing your work and all you're doing is actually just going outside and enjoying riding bikes.
Although Team Mountain Khakis has team members from throughout the United States, it's a Southeast-based team. So Heckman says the Presbyterian Hospital Invitational Criterium is probably the team's biggest race of the year.
Just come out and check it out. It's free. It's fun time. You just watch and see what you think. Charlotte's a fantastic race course because you can see them going up and down on either side. So it's not like you just see them once. So there's a lot of excitement. It's a good atmosphere.
And this year's criterium in Charlotte will be one of your last chances to see Heckman race. He says this is his last season as a professional cyclist. That brings us back to the bassoon. Heckman says he's always been into music, and now...
I am a bassoonist. I guess I'm a recovering bassoonist with a cycling problem or something like that. But yeah, I'm going back to school at UNCG in the fall. I'm actually enrolled to start working on my doctorate in the bassoon.
Tanya Heckman says all the travel has become just a bit too much, so he kind of wants to settle down, maybe teach bassoon or music at college. How about that?
Isn't that incredible? So one of your last chances to see Heckman compete is coming up at the Presbyterian Hospital Invitational Criterium. And again, that event is right here in Center City, Charlotte on August 7th. There's more information on our website, WBTV.com.
Now, Tanya, Mark is just one of many professional cyclists competing in this event. It's always very fun, and it's an easy way to show your support for the Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas, so come on out and support it.
We really do hope that our program tonight has helped you understand the role the Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas plays for so many people who are really needing treatment and needing help to improve the odds for those folks diagnosed with brain tumors. So now it's time for our call to action. The Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas would really love your help.
Right now we need to spend the money because everyone in their lifetime will be touched by either cancer itself or they will know someone touched by cancer. And the more we can do now, to put up those dollars for the research, the better off everyone's going to be in the future.
I think hearing that there are actually good stories and that in fact some people do come out okay and in fact come out better for the experience, I think is a good message, and I think it's a helpful message that more people need to hear.
A nurse coordinator, nurse navigator is absolutely essential in this equation.
And those are exactly the types of things your money will go towards if you donate to the Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas, towards research, towards brain cancer awareness, and towards helping provide support for people diagnosed with brain tumors and their families.
Through support, financial support, as well as helping us during our many fundraisers, this can contribute to the position which in one day can contribute to a family member or friend that has to go through this.
For relatively small investments, they can make a substantial impact on this disease. They can make a substantial impact on the lives of individuals in this community. And that's a very important thing. We're not talking about million-dollar checks. We're talking about relatively small contributions that can go a long way.
Call to action is asking people in the community to rally their time and their treasure to an organization like ours, the Brain Tumor Fund, and give us the ability as their champions to direct funds to areas of research that we know can make a difference.
You can donate to the Brain Tumor Fund for the Carolinas online. We'll link you to their website on ours, WBTV.com. As the Brain Tumor Fund continues to carry out its missions of raising awareness, finding treatment options, and providing support to patients and families, they are also providing hope.
For individuals that have this cancer and their families, I think it's very important for them to know that there's hope. There's hope for improved survival. There's hope that their symptoms can be alleviated. There's hope that even if we can't make a cancer go away, we can stop it in its tracks.
I'm hoping that as time goes on, more momentum and awareness will grow, and we'll ultimately have a lot more funding and treatment options for people like me in the future.
We see hope, and we see long-term survivors that beat this thing, and we're gonna do the same.
You should know that any little bit you can give will really go a long way to helping those fighting brain cancer.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to mark it on your calendars August 7th, the Presbyterian Hospital Invitational Criterium.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.